All right, party people, let's go ahead and continue. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get in this book, The Negroes and the Jews. All right, the story of the historic alliance of two groups since the 1800s and their struggles for equality with other Americans and of the hostility that has grown between them in the last decades. All right. Let's see. I don't know what page this is. All right. But let's just go ahead and read. I showed you the title of the book. All right. The Depression in the 30s and the war in the 40s temporarily halted these residential changes. But with the coming of peace and prosperity, the housing situation began to explode. Rushing outward from the city were the young married couples of the second and third generation white immigrants, following in the wake of the older white Protestant families. They rapidly filled up surrounding suburban counties in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, leaving a semi vacuum in the core of the city. The building of the suburbs were made possible by the federal government. As a stimulus and support to the construction industry, the Federal Housing Authority underwrote mortgages on newly constructed homes. These mortgages, however, were granted in accordance with local prejudices, which meant that new homes were almost never within the reach of Negroes. This applied to Negro veterans as well. Although GI mortgages were not limited to new housing, millions of veterans in pursuit of the American dream, their home on a plot of grass, free from the sights and smells of the old neighborhood, use their mortgage options to buy homes in new developments. Discrimination within the developments, however, restricted these purchasers to whites. Okay? It was restricted to white people. Okay? They claim it was unintentional. The unintentional side effect of this massive injection of federal assistance into the new housing market was to depress the value of old city houses. Like, they didn't mean to do that. Oops, unfortunately, we didn't mean to do that. We didn't mean to disenfranchise you Negroes that's forced to live in a city because you don't have any money because we invaded your land and took away your livelihood. And, oh well, it just happens that way. Some sacrifices has to be made for the betterment of the good. All right? And, to them, it's the whites that are good. It's the whites that deserve to be privileged. Okay? No. Consequently, banks refuse to hold mortgages on aging in city homes or to finance their improvement. Okay? Consequently, banks refused to hold mortgages on aging in city homes or to finance their improvement. This is how the ghetto was created. Okay? The government refused to finance anything in the city because all the finances went to the purchasers of white people in their suburbs. Okay? So that they can have their nice, peaceful, prosperous lifestyle. Middle-class families who preferred to remain in the city were financially penalized for their choice. Hundreds of thousands of young couples across the country who could not afford either the 25 to 30% down payment required by conventional financing were unable to buy homes in the city or obtain the high interest home improvement loans necessary to recondition it. So this was kind of like strong arming the white people to leave us in the ghettos, okay? Because we were not able to take advantage of the housing development in the suburbs. Only white people were, okay? So this kind of strong armed the white people who didn't mind living around us, all right? This strong armed them into, okay, we'll go ahead and take the suburban loans, okay, because they made it damn near impossible for them to live in a city amongst us, okay. The only occupants for these houses were Negroes, unable to escape for social and economic reasons. The black population remained in the city. Okay? It says social because of our status. We were considered black status. Okay? Not black people, but black status. That means that we don't have any rights. Okay? We are to take a back seat to the Europeans and all their vassals that they brought over here to these lands. Okay? We didn't have no say-so. We didn't have any rights. Okay? We're black status. That means dead in the color of law. Okay? Now, they left us in the cities, unable to escape for social and economic reasons. Clearly economic reasons, because they took away our livelihood, when they took away our lands and our resources. Okay? Therefore, we were forced to remain in the city. Between 1950 and 1960 alone, the nation's 12 largest cities lost more than 2 million white residents and gained nearly 2 million Negroes. All right, it is estimated that more than 4 million Negroes have moved out of the rural South into the urban North and West since the end of World War II. Okay? Well, there's a reason for that, because the persecution against us was great in the South. Okay? They were lynching us like crazy in the South. In Philadelphia, the Negro population in 1950 was 968,000 and constituted 18.3% of the total. By 1960, the number had jumped to 535,032. All right, and constituted 26.7% of the citizenry. Current estimates place the head count at over 700,000 and the percentage above the 1/3 mark. The white population declined proportionately from 81.7% to 66%, and the city as a whole suffered an actual population loss of 250,000 persons, all of whom were white, most in the family forming ages. Okay? Now, the rest of that cuts off, all right? Now, let's skip right here where it's highlighted. Whitney Young, the head of the moderate interracial urban league, pointed out that Negroes, unlike Jews, Italians, and other white immigrants, do not live in neighborhoods. We lived in ghettos. It says they live in ghettos. The difference between the two, Young said, is that ghetto residents cannot escape. Unfortunately, They claim, unfortunately, again, like they didn't plan this. Like literally they performed experiments, okay, on the housing projects and whatnot. Hold on, let me see if I can type in experiment. Okay. Okay, I can't find that one thing. Hold on. Where's that, Father? Ghetto or project. That might be it. Okay. Okay, I can't find that. But this is like a picture of the projects, okay? One second. What is the name of that? It's a picture with our people in it. Okay. This is how they forced us to live. Okay. While they lived in the suburbs, this is what they did to the indigenous people of this land. Okay. And it was all systematic. Okay. It ain't coming up with the keyword project. What was the name of that? Okay, if I can't find it, then I'm just gonna move on because still got a bit to go. All right, I can't find it. Oh, there it is. Thank you. Okay. Behavioral sync. Okay. The utopia. Okay, let me type in utopia. Okay, thank you. There it is. Alright, so this is what they did, okay? They knew exactly what they were doing. Alright, there was a man-made mouse utopia called Universe 25. It started with 4 males and 4 females. The colony peaked at 2,200 and from there declined to extinction. Once a tipping point reached, the mice lost instinctual behaviors. Scientists extrapolate this model to humans on Earth. Okay, they did this to who they deemed as Negroes. Okay, behavioral sync. Okay, this is how they got us to begin to hate one another and fight one another and all of these things. Okay, all right, making us live on top of one another. Okay, they weren't funding it, they weren't financing it, so it just continued to get run down and run down. Then they flooded our neighborhoods with crack cocaine and crates of guns. Okay, military grade guns. Okay, military grade weapons. All right. Did you know housing projects were designed as housing experiments, thus the name projects? They were used to see how poor people would respond to living in cramped conditions. As Bro Akil says in the important book From Niggas to Gods, there are obvious natural consequences to putting hopeless creatures into conditions so cramped and desperate that few have enough resources to survive. Studies show that if you put enough rats into small boxes with nothing else to do, they'll have babies. But then they'll run out of room. Eventually, they'll begin killing each other and even eat their young. And that's what the projects, the ghetto, the hood, and the terror is all about. Okay? And then they want to exploit and be like, black on black crime. Look what you're doing to one another. But look at the circumstance. Look at the conditions in which you force our people to live in. And this is our ancestral land. All right? So we were forced to live in ghettos where we could not escape. All right? And they keep saying unfortunately, but they did this on purpose. Unfortunately, this distinction is not really visible to millions of Americans. All right? Because most people choose to stay oblivious. All right? And they've been lied to about everything. And you choose to stay oblivious. You choose to blame the poor. If you're not careful, the media will have you hating the oppressed and loving the oppressor. Alright. Now this was compared to the housing conditions for the Jews in Eastern Europe. Now, one of the main difference between those who call themselves Jews, okay, when they were being oppressed because of what they were doing. In every single nation that they entered, all right, every single place that they ended up, they would bring down the morals of the population with their debauchery. Okay? So this is why they were kicked out everywhere they would go. This is why they were hated. This is why they were detested everywhere they go. Okay? Everywhere they have went, even unto this day. You can look and see what many of them are doing, okay? And their genocide, okay, and all of these things, okay, their mentality, all right, to rule over all humanity, okay, to make all humanity their slaves, okay. See, they are implementing themselves as the true and living God's chosen people. All right, but they perverted it. They perverted everything. So they're trying to take our place as God's chosen people, but you can look at the attributes and see that it does not line up. Okay? Nevertheless, this is how they confuse the people. All right? So, and many of them choose to live in the ghettos, but they don't have the same type of lifestyle as those of us that are forced to live in a ghetto. Alright, so now let's go down here. The custom of restricting the areas where housing is available to Negroes has made the operation of slum real estate a profitable venture. Alright, so many of these Jewish people became the landlords, okay? In Chicago, for example, the fact that the black third of the population is confined to less than a quarter of the city's acreage has resulted in a tremendous demand for living space and a precipitous rise in rental rates. The neighborhoods that are quickest to give way to Negro pressure are those occupied by Jews, whose economic success has given them greater residential mobility than that enjoyed by other recent immigrant groups. Okay, so the Jews ended up becoming rich off of us. Okay. Oh man, bruh. Even Harlem, recognized as the Negro capital of the country, was once a Jewish district. All right, its present boundaries are primarily the result of a wild real estate speculation and residential building boom, which followed the construction at the beginning of this century of the first subway boom, or hold on, first subway lines connecting upper with lower Manhattan. And it's cutting off, so I ain't got no more. Okay. So anyway, as you can see, Europeans were given an advantage over us, including those who call themselves Jews. Okay? They are not on the bottom of the economic system. They did not lose their heritage. They did not forget who they are. Okay? They did not lose their heritage nor their inheritance. All right? No, that happened to so called black people, so called African Americans, Afro Cubans, Afro Mexicans, okay? Afro wherever they are, okay? Now, let's go ahead and get into this audio.
You nations are not taking into consideration that these lands were opened unto your forefathers by the worst of the heathen to come make a covenant with the worst of the heathen. Yes, come to these lands. Your forefathers were given handouts in these lands. As long as your forefathers agreed to oppress us in these lands, hate us in these lands, do heinous things unto us in these lands. See, you are ignoring the confederacy that your forefathers and you have with the worst of the heathen against us. Yes, you're still being oppressed by the worst of the heathen. Nevertheless, you are beguiled by the worst of the heathen against us. Therefore, eternal benevolence has mercy right now, having his people here going through all of this hell in order to speak his living word to you. You have a choice. You can choose to turn from the ways of this wicked ass world. You can look around in your world.
Hold on.
You can choose.
That's right there. I'm gonna start it back up right there. Okay. Now, your judgment day is coming, and it's not the wrath of eternal benevolence. All right, it's the wrath of your own damn wickedness. All right, and the God that you chose to put your trust and faith in. Okay, yeah, that wrath is coming upon the unrepentant, wicked. Okay, that want to claim we were never a slave. Sir, ma'am, we are prisoners of war unto this day, forced to be a cash cow for the wicked who established their unrighteous, unjust system on top of our ancestral land. Okay? So, yes, we are still a slave. Okay? I'm a slave to necessity because they impoverished me and my people. They took away our livelihood. We were living off the land. But we can't live off the land when they done stole our land and all of our resources. Okay? Now you guys have you're all prosperous. All right? You got resources. You got physical resources that could help us. But you want to sit there and claim while you in the middle of this road getting ready to be ran over by judgment day. You want to sit there and be like you were never a slave. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Well, understand, that's having no compassion. That's having a cold heart. All right? This is how you look at us. All right? You got no love for us. You got no compassion, but you one of the main ones. Don't lump us all together. Don't put us in the same category. We don't hate your people. I don't hate your people. I got black friends, but you ain't got no real love because you're holding on to all of your prosperity. And real love would take up some of your prosperity and fill us where we're lacking. That's real love. That's real compassion. That's real kindness, mercy, and empathy to care about us. Okay? To care about me in my time of need. How the hell can you think that ain't real love? How the hell can you make that all about the money? No, sir. You make it all about the money because that's your God. Okay? I ain't here about the money. I'm here to speak this eternal living word to you and give you an opportunity. You must repair the people in which you help to destroy if you are righteous. But if you're wicked, just keep standing there in the middle of the road. Okay? We already went over this. And your attitude in this land. Thinking that you don't have to pay for any of the atrocities that happened to us in this land at the hands of your forefathers and some of you that are still alive today. Okay, you think you don't have to repent for the hatred you have for us in your heart. You think you don't have to repent for your arrogance, your white supremacy, all of these things you get in your heart condition against us. You're sadly mistaken. Look how you treated us in our own ancestral land. You had your children out there playing these carnival games. They still have these games to this day. They just renamed it. Alligator bait. You did all kinds of heinous things to us in our own ancestral land. We're the Hebrews. We're the true biblical people. This is how you treated us. Second. Casual Killing Act. Okay. You had the Casual Killing Act in the late 1600s. Okay? The Casual Killing Act, it stated that it was okay to kill a black if you were correcting them without one being charged for a crime. Alright? So white citizens were granted the ability to chastise us. All right? Yes, you were granted the ability to chastise us by the government, and they created an act in 1669. All right? Hold on. Illegal to kill a slave while correcting because malice cannot be presumed. Yep. You declared it legal to kill a slave while correcting because malice cannot be presumed. Alright? Our God allowed you to treat us this way. Okay? But it was biblical prophecy fulfilled against us. Alright? It continued. Alright? It didn't change. You know, when you shoot us unarmed, or your police shooting us unarmed, okay, and then hold yourselves not guilty, that's the Casual Killing Act. Alright, I think I'm moving on. Let's see, make sure, yeah. Let's just go ahead and, there's more. I got many more receipts, okay, but I'm just gonna go ahead and move on. Okay, because you see this here. This is a real photo. Okay, bounty, $200 for a dozen of nigger ears. Okay, let's get that definition. Alright. this term does not come from Africa. Okay, although there is a place in Africa, named Niger or Niger, however you want to pronounce it. Okay, some pronounce it nigger. All right, but nevertheless, in 1582, it was known as a dark-skinned person of any origin in early U.S. use, usually with reference to American Indians. Okay, usually offensive. All right, so this is like the origin of this term, nigger. All right. So no longer can you foreigners teach us of our history and or give us our ancestral identity. We don't need you to tell us who we are because the Spirit came to tell us who we are. Okay? Just like our God said that He would send His Spirit to awaken us in the land of our captivity. Okay? So we know who we are. We don't need you nations to tell us who we are. We fit the biblical prophecies. You have been oppressing us since the time you stepped foot on our ancestral lands. And it was allotted by eternal benevolence in order to chastise His disobedient covenant people. Okay? As you can see here, they had us for sale in these lands. Okay? Deuteronomy 28:37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whether we shall be scattered. Okay? Yes, they did this to the Israelites. Okay? You guys flooded over here. All right, and you made a covenant with the worst of the heathen to live the American dream in this land. Okay? See? First, you came over here like wild animals, okay? And you're like, it's all mine, rapacious greed. Okay? And now, many of you sitting back enjoying your best life. All right? You've obtained your American dream with all of your prosperity. And you have cared nothing about the indigenous people of this land that's been long-suffering for centuries. Okay? These are lands that they stole from us and gave to you. Okay? If you want a farm or a home, the best thing in the West, railroad lands in southwest Kansas. All right? Good soil for wheat, corn, and fruit. Best stock country in the world. Best stock country in the world because they know that this is the biblical land. And it was allotted for Satan to set up his kingdom upon this land and oppress the people of this land. Okay? Now, let's continue.
You can choose to turn from the ways of this wicked ass world. You can look around in your world. You can see homelessness. How is that righteous? You can see your leaders raping children and then covering it up with pontifical secret. Your popes are not righteous. Your governors, your presidents, your leaders are not righteous. So why do you continuously listen to the worst of the heathen who set themselves up in authority, poisoning your food, poisoning your water, lying to you blatantly? Blatantly lying to your face. Telling you something, bruh, I don't want this video removed. They've been taking down my videos all of this time that I did not have internet. They've been taking down some of my videos, bro. It's absolutely insane. You know? I really wish you people begin to take heed. Because you only have two options. Benevolence or malevolence. One or the other. There's only two churches. The church of the Lamb of the Most High and the church of Satan. You either cleave to his resurrected remnant, those of us who are being obedient. You either cleave to us and help us, or keep cleaving to the worst of the heathen, the ways of this world, this satanic ass system. Keep being in opposition to what eternal benevolence inscribed upon my spirit. Keep doing it to your own detriment. You have been warned. Shalom.
Alright, now we got through the rest of that audio. Alright, and we pretty much went over all of this. Okay, hold on. Yep, American lies. Okay. Now you know why there's not a war on pedophilia. Okay. It's your wicked. Okay. Set themselves up in authority. Alright. Homelessness and all of these things in this land. Okay, and all over the earth. Okay. Poisoning our food, poisoning our water, okay? You know? I cannot, I can't remain oblivious. Okay? I cannot live a superficial life and pretend like everything is okay when I know that we're being ruled by freaking devils, okay? Literal, these people are devils. All right, we were allotted into the hands of the worst of the heathen. Okay, and they have abused their authority. Okay, they have not done righteously upon the earth whatsoever. Okay. For the wrath of the wicked's own wickedness is going to come upon them. It's going to be revealed from heaven. It's being revealed right now against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who suppress the truth in unrighteousness. The fact that people do not want to uphold this truth, the fact that people do not want to support this truth, but they want to continue upholding and supporting this satanic economic system upon this indigenous land and the indigenous people. The fact that you keep upholding this shows that you are wicked within your heart condition. All right? Now, a man who lies to himself and believes his own lies become unable to recognize truth, either in himself or in anyone else. And he ends up losing respect for himself and for others. When he has no respect for anyone, he can no longer love. And in order to divert himself, having no love in him, he yields to his impulses, indulges in the lowest forms of pleasure, and behaves in the end like an animal. And it all comes from lying, lying to others and to yourself. Okay? Self-deceit is the worst form of deceit. Second. It's one thing to be deceived by others by this wicked ass system. When you're unaware. But it's another to sit there and like literally blatantly ignore the truth and choose to believe the lie. 1 second. Yeah, I can't find that one. I don't have internet to be able to bring it up. But let's see. Self deceit. I can't find that. But anyway, that sums it up right there. That we just read it. All right, and we're gonna get this too. All right, saved or self deceived. All right, it is of no use for any of you to try to be soul winners, okay, or evangelicals, or whatever the hell you call yourselves, okay. You think you're doing God's work, but you don't want to separate good apart from evil. Therefore, the God's work you're doing is from a malevolent God. Okay? If you are not bearing righteous fruit within your life, and righteous fruit meaning real divine love, compassion, kindness, mercy, empathy, especially towards the indigenous people, especially towards the obedient covenant remnant that's here flowing by way of the Spirit, freely giving you the oracles of the kingdom. If you are not bearing fruit for real, showing love unto us, it's no use for any of you to claim to be soul winners, because you are not a soul winner. Okay, you are a soul loser. All right, and you are deceiving yourself. All right, you must be bearing the fruit in your own life. You must be in one accord and obedient to eternal benevolence in order to be utilized by eternal benevolence. How can you serve eternal benevolence with your lips if you are not serving him with your actions? How can you preach his gospel with your mouth when with your hands, your feet, and your heart you're preaching the devil's gospel? Selfishness and greed, capitalism, jealousy, envy, hatred, bitterness, slander. You're setting up an antichrist by your practical unholiness. Okay? So people, let me see what time it is. Alright, almost an hour. But yeah, we're gonna end this, okay? Because this has been such a long project. Alright, such a long project. You have a choice. Okay? You've been leaving me out here languishing for a very long time, people. And I'm speaking to the people that got abundance. Okay? I'm speaking to the people who have abundance. Alright? You're mad at me because I have exposed the evils of this world. So I ask you, am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth? That money is a false god? Am I become your enemy because I tell you the truth that you should be compassionate out of your prosperity? You should show love out of your prosperity? See, exposing the evils of this world makes many people become your enemy. Many professing followers of the Good Shepherd, many people confess and they take his name in vain. All right? And because they took his name in vain, they become our enemies because now we're treading upon that which they truly love. All right? Which is their money and their materialistic things. Their carnal pleasures of the flesh, including feasting upon flesh and blood, the flesh and blood of the animals. Okay? Because on this channel, is many things that I've been reproved in. Okay? And because I've been reproved in many things, and I use my free agency to be obedient and accept the reproof by way of the Spirit and apply it to my life and actually live it, all right? Being a actual doer of the word, that, people don't like that because it begins to shine light on them, okay? And their shortcomings. Nevertheless, I'm not to stop, okay? A light's not supposed to be hid. Like, a lot of people been trying to snuff out my light. You want to sum me up. Hold on. Oh, it cannot be hid. Where's that at? I need that scripture. If I had internet, I could have went right to it, but I gotta try to find it on my PC. Light is not supposed to be hidden. Let me see if I can find it on my phone. My phone is on a charger. Let's see. Let your light shine. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Father. Alright, so yeah, I'm supposed to let my light shine. I'm not supposed to be ashamed of the truth that I've received by way of the Spirit and applied to my life and live. It's like majority of people, they gaslight to try to make us feel ashamed for being different, for being set apart, for living a set apart lifestyle. Want to claim we're goody two shoes, want to claim that we're self righteous. No, sir. It is not self righteous to strive to be obedient to the true and living God of eternal benevolence. It is not self righteousness to let our light shine before men so that they may glorify eternal benevolence. I am not here for the praise and honor of men. I'm here to glorify eternal benevolence. Okay? The righteous is going to shine forth like the sun in the kingdom of our Father. And that's the kingdom that's coming to the earth. Okay? I am to let my light shine. And it's here shining. I'm just hidden. I'm a hidden one. Okay? Yes, I'm very rare. And the gaslighting has been real. You were only able to do that to me when I did not have the spiritual clarity and or understanding. So now the light is shining in the darkness. Okay? The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. But the darkness comprehendeth it not. Many people who choose to remain in darkness refuse to comprehend the light. And they fear the light. All right? Let your light so shine before men, so that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. See, I am the salt of the earth, okay? I am different. I am set apart. But if I allow the wicked people of this world to take me away from being the salt of the earth, I would lose my savor, okay? I would lose my flavor, okay? Then how the hell is the earth going to be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing if I just allow this wicked ass system to force me back into earning money for a living. Alright? I would be good for nothing but to be cast out and trodden underfoot of men. Okay? Being a slave to this system. I mean, this is the life that many people want for me. You literally want to force this upon me. And the reason why you want to force this upon me is because you feel like it was forced upon you. But understand, yes, the economic system was imposed, but you were not forced to participate in selfish ambition other than to sustain your carnal flesh. But still yet you had a choice. Okay? Like I have a choice. I choose to suffer in a carnal flesh. Alright? Because many times I ain't got money. So because I ain't got money, I just gotta go without that which I want and need. But most people don't want to go through the suffering of lacking the money. So they choose to do the selfish ambition. And because they choose to utilize their free agency to follow the beast, be obedient to the beast for the reward of money, so that they don't have to suffer in their fleshly bodies, they want to impose that upon me. And never mind the fact that I've been long suffering for over 3 years. See, I didn't go through 3 years of long suffering just to cave now. You want me trodden underfoot of men. You want my spirit shackled and chained to a mundane lifestyle, earning the reward of money for my fleshly body, because it can do nothing for my spirit. It can do nothing for my soul. I know that I am the light in this world. I am a light in this world. A city that is set on an hill cannot be hid. Men, like, if you are actually righteous, you don't light a candle and put it up under a bushel. Okay? No, if you're righteous, you would light a candle and you would actually put it up to give light to others, to lead the way, to light the path. Why are you trying to put my light under a bushel? Why are you not putting it on a candlestick so that it can give light unto all upon the earth? Why don't you want to help elevate this truth? Why don't you want to help me soar in that which has been inscribed upon my spirit? Okay? The light is shining in the darkness, people. Okay? I have not let the darkness overcome me. I let my light shine, even though it's gotten me hated. Okay? Now, the salvation of the righteous is of eternal benevolence. He is our strength in the time of trouble. If you do not want to be delivered via eternal benevolence, and that's the attributes. Okay? Think of the attributes. Think of what you would desire if you were in want and need of many things. Because these are the attributes of eternal benevolence: divine love, compassion, kindness, mercy, empathy, generosity, all of these good things. If that is what you desire, then I suggest you begin sowing those attributes, even though you are not currently going through any suffering in the physical, because you get an abundance of your money. So you don't want or need for anything. So it is nothing. for you to take of your abundance and help to fill his people where we are lacking. You will be the portion to be of the salvation of eternal benevolence. Okay? On that note, I am so happy to be done with this project. 15 videos and all, bruh. So, on that note, I might start a new project today. I don't know what it would be, but it's kind of hard, people, because I ain't got space. I'm just piling up space on my PC. It's already well over halfway, filled. My disk space is over halfway full. Okay, I have no room on my passport to store anything else. I had to make room in order to be able to fit these videos to transport from here on my external hard drive to take it to the office, the apartment complex office, in order to upload it. Okay, but every single time I do a video, that's putting more space. I mean, that's taking up more space on my PC, and ain't no place for it to go. Okay, it's just getting laggier and laggier. This is an old PC. Also, okay, thank you, Father, for reminding me. Uh, People, I'm gonna have to restart my PC. Okay, my computer keeps trying to force me to restart for updates, but you know, it's old. It's been from 2016. Apparently there was an issue with the Windows latest update. Claiming that it takes you to the blue screen of death and won't let you pass it. I don't have no might in my hands to buy a new PC. Okay? I have no might in my hands for storage or any of that. Anything that costs money, I have no might in my hands. Okay? I'm completely powerless when it comes to finances. My power is spiritual. Okay? And that's what I operate in. I operate within my spiritual mission. But where are the righteous aims? You have a purpose via eternal benevolence. Okay? You have this opportunity to do the right thing. Okay? We are to come together. Okay? We are not to come together with you. All right? Okay? Because you are without the spiritual wealth. You have the physical wealth, but you need the spiritual wealth. Okay? We have the spiritual wealth in abundance, but we're lacking finances. Okay? You are to come together with us. You are to begin to show love unto us, filling us where we're lacking, and absorb this spiritual wealth that we are freely giving. Okay? You shall know his ones by our actions. Okay? The attributes of benevolence. Alright? This is how you find his hidden ones. By our actions, by our deeds, not just by what we say out our mouth. It has to line up with our actions. Okay? And it does. Alright? Because I live what I speak. And you ain't got to take my word for it. But it's your responsibility to find out. Okay? It's your responsibility to do the legwork before you just make up your mind and project some false reality upon me. I suggest you begin to get to truly know me. Alright? Shalom.